it's time to talk about Phantasm 5, RaVager. There it is. I put it on top of 4 because fuck 4. I'm just going to try to do my best to piss every Phantasm fan off. I know I've already pissed off a couple. I've gotten some comments recently like, dude, it all makes sense. Alright? Just use your brain. And then I like how they say that and they don't even explain it. Like, they just know it. They act like they're Don Coscarelli because that's exactly how he is. Like, I know it. I just won't tell you. It's like, no, you don't. You're full of shit. Now, a little backstory about how I went into this movie and what my history with it is there is no history. I didn't know this movie existed until I went to fucking review all these and I bought the 5-pack. Now, I had never seen a trailer, I had never seen a teaser, pictures, nothing. I went into this completely blind. It's also on Amazon Prime if you want to check it out for free. A lot of people would say that, yeah, it's only worth seeing if it's free because they act like this movie's trash. So I went into this movie off of 4, hating 4, knowing that 5 was bad because everybody says it's bad. Everybody, like every comment I ever got in my past 4 videos is like, oh my gosh, wait till you get to 5. And I've heard people, like the same people who say like, part 4 is great, top 3, and that just blew my mind. So I'm like going off of 4 into this, I'm like, shit, if I thought 4 was bad and everyone's saying it's great, I can only imagine how bad this one's going to be. So I was dreading it so much. So I basically decided, fuck it, I'm going to turn my brain off and not use my brain, because like that commenter says, like, use your brain, why don't you use it? I really did not use it for this one. I went into this with my brain off because I was like, fuck it, I'm not even going to pay attention to the story because Don Coscarelli is not really paying attention to the story. It's all over the fucking place. So I went into this like, I'm not going to pay attention to the story. I'm just going to pay attention to the characters and visuals, whatnot, story, fuck that. And I also, to help boost my experience of this movie, decided to try a little test. I was going to throw on a movie that's so bad on before it. And I chose Toxic Avenger Part 3. And holy shit, that movie is so wild, but bad. It is so bad. It was a chore. It is like written by kindergartens, like just a room of little 6-year-olds got together and fucked up 6-year-olds, and they just wrote this script. And like, just that's like a movie where you can tell there's no deleted scenes. Like, what deleted scene? Everything's in there. It's like, really? That movie is just fucking awful, but we're not here to talk about that. But I threw that on before this, and I think it had something to do with me actually enjoying Phantasm 5 RaVager. I enjoyed this one way more than Part 4, and you will be shocked to see where it is in my ranking, which I will be doing after this. So, this actually has, shockingly enough, this has a like 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's actually more like 50-50. Like, from what I've been hearing recently, I thought this thing was going to have like a 10 or 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's actually 50-50. And there's even a bloody disgusting article where this guy's defending it. Like, it's awesome, it's, charming as hell, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Love it. And so, yeah, there's actually some fans out there. I was surprised to see that because I've only heard shit. And I had to do some research to finally see some love for this movie. So let's get into the movie itself. I really do not have much to say about this movie at all. I have barely anything written for pros and cons because I was just kind of mindlessly watching it, not really writing anything down. The only thing good I could say about the movie is that it is very quick. It is just very quickly paced. It's only like an hour and 15 minutes. It's not going to waste too much of your time. So therefore, it's very rewatchable. It's just very quick. It's got a lot going on. Every scene, there's just something interesting happening. Like, whoa, what's this? And I like that. I like how quick this movie is, especially after Part 4, which I thought was the most boring. Like, 1, 2, and 3 were all very well-paced, and then 4, to me, just slammed on the brakes, and this one just slams on the gas, and it's like, fuck it, let's just keep going. It's just like, bam, 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 like, just shit constantly happening. There's spheres everywhere, CGI, unfortunately, and it's bloody, or just people getting speared in the head, speared in the throat, or, I keep calling them spheres. Is that what you call them? You fanatics out there, your Phantasm fans? The balls, the whatever, they just get the ball in the throat. It's way bloodier. There's no shine away. There is no MPAA. This one's the bloodiest of them all, easily. There's just lots of blood and carnage. Higher body count than 4, easily. And I think despite how low this budget is, it is like the lowest, if not the second lowest in all 5. it has some moments where it looks good. Not with like the CGI and the green screen stuff. I'm talking like when they're actually on location. Just the way it looks. Just the fall atmosphere in one scene. Like, there's certain moments where I was actually like, oh, that actually looks good. And I'm a sucker for like colorful lighting. There's one scene they're at this dark, like hospital, I guess, where the tall man has Reggie captive, and there's like blue lighting, and there's like orange lights. There's just all these cool neon lights going on. I like that. It looks way better than part 4. I know I keep going back to that, but seriously, part 4, I just did not like it. It's all the desert, the entire movie. Just desert, desert, desert. It's not aesthetically pleasing at all. So yeah, other than that, the cons would be all the CGI, all the green screen effects. You can tell they're in front of a green screen, like me. They're just like shooting like the crazy what do they call them? The grave diggers. The CGI yellow blood, and then the CGI this, CGI that, CGI face over the lady in lavender. Oh, there's a positive. I'll throw one quick positive in here too. Like, I like that they went back and like grabbed cast people from the first one. You got the lady in lavender, you got Jody back here, and you got Rocky from part 3. Spoiler alert. That was spoiler for me. That's one thing I knew. Somebody in my comment section told me that, so that was a spoiler. You son of a bitch. I would have been shocked had that guy not comment that. But whatever. So yeah, I just like that they grabbed all these people back, and it's like, oh, look, it's that person. Oh, look, they're back. And like the lady in lavender, she looks great still. Like 35, 40 years later, she looks pretty good. Now, back to my negatives. This movie is just so abrupt, and all it does is what part 4 does. It sets up a sequel that you're probably not going to get for another 20 years. And who's going to play the tall man then? Tall man's dead. Angus Scrimm, he died like before this was even released. They shot this like over like a 4-year gap, I read. Like, they started in like 08, 09. And if you pay attention in one scene, when Reggie gets in his CUDA car, what do they call it? You can see a service sticker on his windshield, and it says January 2009. I'm pretty sure I read it. I paused it, I looked at it, just because I'm a stickler for that shit. It's like, oh, look, it says 2009, so that's when they filmed it. So they were like filming it in 2009, 10, and then a little bit in like 11 and 12 supposedly, and then it's just been sitting on a shelf for 3 years, and they finally released it. So yeah, this one was in development hell. Obviously, they knew it wasn't a good movie, so they kind of just kept it hidden for a while. I don't know what took them so long to finally release it, but they finally did in 2016, and everybody hated it, except for me. I enjoy it. But yeah, it's just, the ending, it's so abrupt. So abrupt. I was shocked. When it said, like, directed by, I was like, that's it? I thought there was another 20 minutes at least. I thought we were just getting into the third act. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, they're going to go fight the tall man. They're heading towards the city, and boom, it's over. Really? That was a bit of a disappointment. I was actually, like, on board. I was, like, getting pumped. I was like, all right. Because, like I said, I shut my brain off. I was like, whatever. Fuck the story. Let's just see some action. And this one has a lot of action, and I was really enjoying it. And it just ended so quickly. It was a bummer. And it just sets up a sequel, just like part 4, and we know we're not going to get it. So, final thoughts. I think if you are a hardcore Phantasm fan, and you've been, misled, and just everyone's been telling you, like, it's so awful, don't watch it, blah, 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 I think you should still give it a shot. I mean, if you're a hardcore Phantasm fan, you've probably seen it already, and you don't need me telling you to go watch it. But I think it's definitely a much more entertaining, just shut your brain off and you'll enjoy it type of movie. Don't pay attention to story, because fuck is it everywhere. In this movie, they try to throw like 4 different explanations at once about what's going on. Is it dementia? Is it he's crazy, or he's in a coma? He's, comatose by the tall man. He's got the little things in between his head, or is it blah blah blah? It's dimensions on top of each other. It's all over the fucking place. It makes no sense. Don't even try to think about it. Just go into it, have fun. Reggie's a fun-ass character. He is luckily, like, in this movie the entire time. In part 4, I'll go back to that one again. It's a common theme. He was in, like, maybe a third of it. In this one, he's the entire movie, so thank God. That's another positive. So, if you like Reggie and you're a fan of this franchise, I think this one's still worth checking out. Don't listen to all the haters. This one's still got some good things in it. The CGI is bad, but if you can look past bad CGI, and if you can look past the bad storytelling that's incoherent as hell, you can just have fun. So, when it comes to RaVager, Phantasm 5, I think you should stream it, borrow it from a friend, or rent it at Redbox. Spoiler discussion! Alright, so, the hottest chick in this movie is Dawn, whose name changes to Jane for some reason. And the best scene in this movie, oddly enough, is when Reggie is playing his guitar and he's like trying to make up a song. I thought that was funny. I actually laughed out loud. I had a few good chuckles during this movie. So, back to that Don thing. Okay, so with this whole multiple dimensions thing, like there's multiple Tallmans, there's obviously multiple Reggies because he's died in the first one, but he keeps coming back. Like all these, Jody, he comes back inexplicably. He's in the car later on. He's driving that Death House car. It looks like something out of not Death House, Death Race. He's driving like that Death Race car. It's got the machine guns on it and whatnot. He's just back. And Mike, he's just back. He was fucking on the ground dead at the end of part 4. Now he's back. Like, there's multiple people, obviously. There's multiple versions of every character. But yet they each carry the same name. But Dawn in this movie, who's just introduced, she dies very quickly, and then she comes back in a different dimension as Jane. Explain that to me. Explain everything. Fuck, man. So, let's get to the movie. We get this opening montage, and it's Reggie doing his best to kind of explain what's been going on. Does a fairly decent job of trying to make it make sense, but not really. And so his car's been jacked, and then the one person driving down the road behind him is the guy who stole his car. And I actually really like the scene. It's very funny. He gets in the car, and he's like, I used to have a car just like this. And you can see, like, the nervous look on the guy's face. And he's like, yeah, I think I had a Glock in the center console. And then he, like, reaches for it. There's nothing there. And he's like, oh, that's right. I had it in the glove box, motherfucker. Love that scene. So yeah, he kicks him out. He strips him down too, just to add insult to injury. And then the sphere ball, whatever, comes and it hits him right in the back of the head. Blood just gushing nonstop. And then Reggie seems to have like an infinite amount of ammo. He's just shooting his one gun and one clip over and over and over again at the ball. Puts it in the glove box, shoots it again, shoots the other one. He's just got infinite ammo. But it makes sense because it's not real. It's not happening. Nothing is. And I already talked about the sticker in the window. It says January 09. So does that mean this movie really does take place in 09? I mean, Reggie clearly looks older. He's way older than he was in part 4. So how many years has gone by? They don't tell you. So that, I guess that's just up for debate. And then, like, he bumps into Mike. And Mike in this other dimension where they're fighting, not the one at the hospital. And they're like, Mike's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking all over for you. It's like, what? You're dead. Like, his whole journey, Mike, at the beginning, he's like all torn up and like just, got battle wounds, and he's still in that outfit, the ice cream outfit. So it's like a lot of time has gone on from 4 to 5 where he's trying to avenge Mike's death because, that's what happened. He died at the end of 4. He's like, I'll avenge you, brother. He goes to the portal. And now we get to see what he looks like after years of trying to defeat the tall man for Mike. And now it's like Mike's like, oh, I've been looking for you. I haven't been dead. I've been trying to look for you for all these years. And Reggie's like, yeah, me too. It's like, what? I don't get that at all. That makes no sense. I thought you were trying to avenge him, not look for him. You thought he was dead. Did you not? Whatever. So then we get like all these different like cut back. It keeps cutting back to like him in this like hospital, this old folks home. And for some reason, it just automatically clicked. It reminded me of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Sergeant Woods. He's got like the same exact like robe and outfit on. He's in the wheelchair. It's got the same setting. They're outside beneath a tree on the park bench. Just the way it looked. It was like, hey, that's Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Anybody else? Or am I just crazy? So yeah, it keeps cutting back and forth. And he's like, Reggie, you got dementia, and that's why you're fucking crazy. All this shit you're just dreaming of, and blah blah blah, and whatnot, whatever. So that's one explanation. And you know what? Fuck it. That's my headcanon. That will be my explanation for this whole series. 1 through 5, all in Reggie's head, but for some reason Reggie's like in 10 minutes of the first film. Like, he's not even the main character in the first movie, but yet all this is just in his head. Or it's multiple dimensions, because then like Mike, he comes back to visit Reggie, and he's like, I read this book about all these dimensions, and there's thousands of them on top of each other, and sometimes maybe they can like meld and like, get together. Because there's one scene where clearly there's 2 dimensions like kind of interconnecting, like, because Reggie, he's at the old folks' home, he's in his robe, and then he sees Mike in the other dimension where he's fighting the war against the tall man, and he just throws a shotgun at him. Like, through dimensions without the portal things to help. It's just confusing. So yeah, you got that theory out there, but then it cuts to like Reggie waking up on like a gurney in one of the tall man's dimensions, where I guess he has like these two poles. I guess the portal poles. He has them in between on both sides of his head. So he's in a coma. Like he's just been comatose forever, like been brainwashed, like he's just being mind controlled. That's another theory, I guess, that this movie's trying to suggest amongst millions of others. And then, so yeah, again, Reggie bumps into a gorgeous girl whose car is broken down. She's hitchhiking. He gives her a ride to her house, and she just invites him in. Like just this random ass, 60-year-old guy. I think he's about 60 in this movie. In real life, he's definitely in his 60s. So she just invites him in, and then she like contemplates on whether or not she wants to fuck him. Like she's like looking at her pillow, like, should I invite him up here? And she goes down. He's asleep. But I do like that scene where he's like writing her song. He's writing her a song. He's like, what's her name again? And then Daniel Roebuck from like Final Destination, River's Edge, 1,000 other movies, Rob Zombie movies recently, and like a few of them. And for some reason, they have like this helper who doesn't speak a single word of English. How the hell does he do anything for you? Like they imply he's been there for ages. Like he's been there helping like the farmer for years, and he doesn't speak English, not one word. How does that work? And he gets the sphere right in the throat, and it's just gushing blood for like a whole minute straight. And then a horse gets killed. So this is the first time and only time an animal actually gets the ball in it, and it's just squirting blood out of a horse. Awesome. And not awesome because I hate horses, but awesome because it's going for it. It's like, fuck it. Let's kill a horse. Let's push the envelope. Let's piss people off. Fuck you, PETA. But yeah, I like that they kill a horse. They went for it. And then we get this weird dream sequence within a dream sequence, within a dream, within dimensions, whatever, where you see Jebediah once again from part 4. They carry that over at least, and it's just a dream. And like, what's the point? And whatever. So I don't get any of that. I'm not even gonna try to like break it down. So fuck it. And so then Roebuck, he gets killed, and then he goes through the portal. You see like this giant fucking the ball in the air, and it's destroying cities. It's got like a laser beam, and it just destroys a fucking like skyscraper in 2 seconds. Awesome. This one's really trying to this one's very ambitious. Like they're going for a lot of different ideas here. They're trying to like show all kinds of chaos, and this one's just very much like adrenaline the entire time, just constant chaos and things happening, people getting killed. He goes, Reggie, he sees Dawn in her bed, she's killed, but then she comes back as Jane, inexplicably. I heard there's a little guy in this movie, and I heard that he was supposed to be Bruce Campbell. Now, was he supposed to be Ash, or just Bruce Campbell? Like, Bruce Campbell playing random character in the Phantasm movie? Because the little guy, at some point, loses his hand. And it would have been funny if he put like a chainsaw in his hand, like a little guy with a chainsaw hand. That would have been funny. Now, I will say that this movie does kind of feel like Don Coscarelli might have directed it himself. Like, the only thing missing is a car flipping and blowing up. That's the only thing that Don would have done. But yeah, I think this movie kind of feels like a Don Coscarelli movie. Like, the direction, and I think it fits. It's got the same style to me. I didn't notice anything different. So, yeah, okay, so here's another thing that's kind of just inserted in here. So, the tall man, he's trying to make a deal with Reggie, like, just let me kill your friends. Why do you care so much? And Reggie should be asking the same question, like, why do you care so much? But he's like, Reggie, the tall man says to Reggie, whatever, you're not even real. You're just my nightmare. What? Whatever, fuck that. I mean, explain that to me. So, and then I like how, so they're in the red world where you're supposed to be shrunken, but I guess not in this case no more, because they're all fine. I mean, the little guy's little already, but, so they're all out there. 2 of them will wear masks, so I guess they have to wear masks so that it doesn't kill them, but the other girl, Dawn/Jane, she's not wearing a mask, and she seems okay. But looking past that, I like how they're on 2 different sides of, like, this canyon. There's a big old hole in the ground. and they're like talking to each other. There's a big old windstorm. There's all kinds of noise going on, and they're like having this dialogue together. How are they hearing each other? Bullshit. And then the tall man says, "There's thousands of me. There's hundreds of thousands of me." And then the little guy hears that, and he's like, "Don't worry, you guys. I got this." And he has like all these grenades on his chest, and he like rips the pins out and blows up the tall man, acting like he's making this great sacrifice. Like, if I just blow up this tall man, I will save the world. He just said there's 1,000 of him, and if you kill him, there's another one around the corner, you fucking moron. But then by the end of the movie, it wasn't even a sacrifice. So 5-6 grenades on his chest, the damage that was done was just a little bit of black smoke on his face and a missing hand. What the fuck ever. And I like how Reggie and Mike, on the other side of that giant hole, all the way on the other side of the canyon, are like, "Oh my gosh, look out, he's about to blow up." Like, it's not, that's so far away. You're fine. Especially since it's only going to blow up his fucking hand. But yeah, Dawn, she gets her neck snapped like all the way around. That just took me by surprise. That was a shocking death. Just all the way around. So, but it's also the lamest kill in the movie, honestly. It's a lame neck snap kill. It just makes her character feel very pointless. She really does nothing. It's just throwaway character. Like, why is she here? Just neck snap. Boom. She's done. And, then what else happens in this fucking movie? The dwarf, I like that a dwarf kills a dwarf. The little guy, he kills a dwarf. So I was like, oh, look, dwarf on dwarf violence. And it really starts jumping back and forth between, like, old Reggie and fighting Reggie in like the both dimensions, the hospital, and then like the war with the tall man. It just goes back and forth like 5 times in 2 minutes. It's crazy. And then there's that sphere bomb. It looks like one of those like submarine bombs that are like under the water that like are supposed to like blow up enemy submarines or something. All the like spikes on it. It looks clearly like CGI, but it hits the guy in the head and blows his head up. Awesome. Looks like CGI too. It's a CGI head explosion, but still awesome. Just the idea of it. I would prefer that it be practical, but whatever. It was neat. And so then we find out that Mike lived at the end of part 4. Like, not only did Mike live, not just a different dimension Mike, but that one. At the end of 4, after Reggie believing that he was dead and going through the portal, at some point Mike just stood back up, went to a random like gas station, found a mirror, and started stitching the hole in his head. Like, "Oh, I'm fine. I just pretended like I was dead for a little bit to freak you out and then have you go like, fuck, whatever." So then Jody's back. He's not in the ball form no more, so I guess he's just human now. And the balls don't have brains in them no more. We don't see that. We don't see the eyeballs that come out of them anymore. But he's just back. Jody's back. Okay. And like I said, they got the death race car, and it's just blowing people away. And it clearly looks like a green screen. Like, they're not really on location. And so yeah, they drive away, and they're like, all right, let's go somewhere cold where we can defeat the tall man. But they just drive right into the city, where there's like all these balls in the sky destroying buildings and shit. Like, why do you want to go into the devil's playground, like, it's right in the middle of all this shit, when you can just find some other route? It just makes no sense. But yeah, they're going to go north, and that's where the next movie will pick up. So yeah, and then we get this like little after credit sequence where we see Rocky. She makes an appearance, and honestly, I wouldn't have recognized her had I not been told beforehand that Rocky was in it. I was kind of waiting for it. And the dwarf lives inexplicably. He's alive. Not a different dimension dwarf, but the one who blew himself up, I guess. Like, how the fuck does that work? So yeah, that's the end of Phantasm 5. The best kill in this movie is Roebuck. I really like that death. Just because it lingers for so long, and just how bloody it is. I like that one. And it doesn't like hit him in the forehead. It doesn't hit him in the back of the head. It hits him in the throat, just to change things up a bit. So yeah. That's it. I'm done with this franchise. I will do my ranking video next, and I will be fucking done with this one. I'm sorry, Phantasm fans. I am not a fan. I'm not a Phantasm of this franchise. So, yeah. What are your thoughts, though? Put them in the comments below. Defend it, hate it, whatever. I don't give a shit. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna apologize for it. That's my honest opinion. If I didn't give you my honest opinion, then why the hell would I be doing this? There's no point. me line. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you hit this like button, share it out with your friends, become a Patreon for as low as $1 a month, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.